Starting stream.
Alrighty.
Pat, you are live.
Hello everyone and welcome to a very bittersweet dive because it is actually my very last dive here at Casuarina Point in Grand Cayman. So I am starting pretty shallow today. 6 meters down, so about 20 feet, and we are starting in the shallows because I think we may have a bit of a mate hiding away in one of our well-known spots. So I'm not going to reveal what or who it may be, but we will go and have a look. So today I am Patrick. I am your underwater biologist from Australia. On camera we have the South African Riyadh, and on the surface we have Scottish Lauren. So if you have any questions, comments, queries, whatever, please send them in using the hashtag diveLIVE if you are on Twitter. And today, well, I am going to be looking for a nurse shark because it is Shark Week. But being my last dive here at Casuarina Point, I'm going to really leave the cards open. I wouldn't mind seeing a loggerhead or a turtle of any sort. I'm still going to be on the lookout for that octopus, and yeah, apart from that, whatever may come can come. So, do you want to say hello, Lauren?
Hi everyone. So just to add on what Pat was saying, it's not our last day of diving, it's just the last day at this reef. There will be dives tomorrow where we will be on a boat diving new exciting sites for the last time. So it's not the last day today. So please do send in all your questions and comments and anything that you would like to see, but keep it relevant to what we're seeing on screen. And if you are using Twitter, make sure you use that hashtag diveLIVE. So Pat, what's your depth and how is the visibility?
The viz isn't great today. There is a bit of plankton stand up in the water. I'd say probably about 10 to 15 meters of viz, maybe a little less even. So that is about 40 to 50 feet. But I am only at 3.5 meters now, but we have found the engine block here, and I do see the tail of a big green moray eel, so that means his head must be the other side over here. So let's go, here we go. So we do have, this one's quite a long one, probably about 2 meters long. So about 6 feet, this moray here is.
Yeah, there we go. We've got a sighting of it now. Just hiding in that engine block is the infamous green moray eel.
Yeah, the funny thing about the green moray is that they're not actually green. So they do have a green appearance on their skin, but their skin itself is actually brown. Now they do have a layer of toxic mucus covering their skin that is yellow. So the mixture of the mucus and the skin is what gives it the green appearance.
Yeah, and the toxins that are in the mucus of a green moray eel are actually very, very strong, and one of them destroys red blood cells of anything that comes in contact with it.
Yeah, that sounds very nasty. So we can see that it's just kind of slowly opening and closing its mouth there. It's doing that for a good reason. It does have to pump water over its gills, and so the only really way to do that is allow it to come in through its mouth. So it's essentially just being a bit rude and breathing with its mouth open.
So Betty's asking about the engine block, and yes, this is the same one. It's very close to Don Foster's dive centre, and it's the same engine block that we visited the other day.
Yeah, so we do quite often check it because we're not sure whether it is the same moray eel, but there generally is a moray eel a lot of the time that we come here. So it obviously provides very good protection for the moray because it's about as long as the standard body length of a full-grown green moray eel, and it does offer protection from pretty much all sides, so it's a perfect little hideaway for this fella.
So Pat, Timothy's asking, what do moray eels eat?
Well, they are predatory fish, and they do hunt more by smell rather than sight, but they will hunt a wide variety of organisms. So it could be a fish of some sort, or squid, sometimes a big crab or a lobster, pretty much anything they can get their mouths on. And they do have a very ferocious set of teeth there that they can use to grasp and hold on to their prey.
Yeah, and on that, they actually are very unique in that they have a two set of jaws. So those teeth that you can see this now is its first set, which will hold onto the prey, and then there is a second set of jaws a little bit further down the throat that will launch out and grab the prey and send it downwards towards the stomach. So it's a bit alien-like, but these are one of the few animals that have two sets of jaws.
Yeah, very creepy. Something I wouldn't really want to see myself firsthand either.
A lot of people are commenting that it looks a bit scary, but these animals are actually quite timid. They would more rather flee than fight. They just have a very ferocious appearance, but really they're not so dangerous or aggressive.
And they really do look quite scary, but we've spent a lot of time with moray eels now in this area, and they are nothing but gentle. They're always generally just hiding out, or well, we did when we first saw this one. It was actually half extended out of the engine block. Not really sure what it was doing, but yeah, they are always just kind of hanging out, really. Not really doing much else.
So Pat, Syringe was asking, do they lay eggs?
Yes, they do. So your moray eels do have a pretty wide range of reproduction modes. But yes, the female will go somewhere safe to lay her eggs.
Yes, for the green moray it is external fertilization, where the female will lay eggs and the males will come along and fertilize them. And this will occur at a special spawning site, which is normally very far away from the reefs and a lot deeper. So Love Dogs has commented that the two-jaw thing is very much like the movie Alien, and they wonder if they based the characters on the moray eel. And actually, that is apparently true. It was, the moray eels were a part of making the Alien character.
That's fascinating. It's not often that you'd hear of an alien being based off a land creature, but that just shows the real mysteriousness of the underwater world. We do get a lot of alien creatures here, particularly in the deep. There are some very strange looking critters down there.
So we are being photobombed right now by the four-eyed butterfly fish. There's actually 3 of them, and the striped parrotfish.
Yeah, this engine block is really quite a productive little mini ecosystem here. Now, just to give a bit of an idea of how long this one is, Rihanna, if you turn the camera up to me, so you can see that I am about the size of this engine block here. So with me kind of straightened out, my feet kind of end at the end of the engine block, and my head kind of sits at the start of the engine block. So if we are to go along this engine block and look at the back, we can actually see that there's still about a good 2 feet of tail coming out the back there. So I am 5'8", or 5'9", sorry. So if I'm the size of the engine block, then that means that this moray must be about 6 feet or over.
Yeah, and I'm 5'2", so it looks like it would be much bigger than I am. And just when we saw that tail, we were able to see that elongated dorsal fin, which is joined up to the caudal and anal fin and runs right along the whole body. So Pat, Proud Cat Mama is asking, what are the predators of the moray eels?
So when they are in their bigger stage like this, there's not really that much that would attack them, especially here on this reef. Maybe a very large shark, but they would have to really get in there to be able to do that. But in their smaller phases, they would be eaten by probably nurse sharks, maybe large groupers, potentially even a big barracuda. But yeah, once they kind of reach this length, there's not much that is really going to mess with them.
Yeah, when they're juveniles, they're very different looking from the adults, and they're sort of ribbon-like, transparent and gelatinous, so you wouldn't necessarily think it was a juvenile form of the moray eel. They look really different. So Pat, we have some questions. How long do moray eels live?
So I'm not actually sure about their longevity. Do you know, Lauren?
I haven't got any information on how long they live for. Both Virginia and Sarinth were asking that. But Sarinth is also asking how long they get.
Well, they do kind of max out at about the size we're seeing here with this species anyway. So this is one of the largest species of moray eels. Not the absolute largest, but yeah, this one will kind of max out at 6 to 8 feet.
Yeah, and the largest of all morays is the giant moray, which I don't believe we get here. It's a brown in colour and it has much more girth. It's very, very... Oh, it just looked like that moray eel yawns. It's very, very wide. And that reaches up to 8 feet, which is around 2.5 metres, and can weigh in at 30 kilograms, which is about 66 pounds?
Yes, yes.
So the green is a close second, but the giant is definitely the biggest. And there is actually rumours of a 10-foot monster on record, but there's not much evidence to back that up. Is it being cleaned, Pat?
I can't actually see right now, but there are a few fish hanging around the engine block being cleaned, so perhaps it is cleaning time. There is a lot of surface area to cover with this moray eel, so I can imagine it's almost constantly being cleaned when it's resting.
Yeah, we just saw a cleaner goby come right out of its mouth as if it was almost down the throat, and what it's probably doing is cleaning that second set of jaws. We had some great action there, and Kathy was actually asking, do they visit cleaning stations?
Well, they don't really visit cleaning stations, rather the cleaners come to them, so wherever they will rest, it will kind of be amongst a bommy or a complex coral structure, or something like this, such as the engine block, but it will be a place where there will be a lot of other littler fish anyway, so they don't really visit cleaning stations.
Yeah, the engine block is a cleaning station within itself, so it is where the morays live. But I visited there the other day and there's a lot of cleaner fish and cleaner shrimp. So this moray eel is not only hiding out in a safe place, it's being completely cleaned by the little cleaner goby that we can see happening right now. Kathy commented that it's a very brave fish, and yeah, I guess you're right. But it's a symbiotic relationship and the moray will never eat the goby.
Yes, cleaner fish do appear very brave, but I think the fish that are being cleaned do realise that it is a benefit for them, so there's no real reason to eat them.
And some fish, including morays, actually find the cleaning process quite relaxing. So it looks very relaxed right now, and the cleaning goby is actually almost on its eye. So morays don't see very well. They have those big eyes that we can see right now, but they're not very good for vision. you can actually see when you look at the moray eel's eye that it's very poor, so they're quite blind. They rely on other senses, mainly smell and the feel for vibrations in the water.
Yeah, they do actually have 4 nostrils. So they have the 2 that they're kind of known for. The diver symbol for a moray is kind of 2 fingers to represent those 2 nostrils. And then they also have another 2 right back near their eyes as well.
Yeah, you can see those 2 nostrils sticking out right in front of us.
So moray eels are still fish. They don't really resemble what you would think of as a typical fish, but somewhere along the lines of evolution they have kind of split apart from one another, but are still within the same lineage. So we can tell that they are a fish because they still do have kind of those ventral and dorsal fins. This time it's just been modified though to run along the edge of the entire body. It looks like it must be getting its mouth cleaned right now. It's holding that wide open, showing us those pearly whites.
Yeah, it's been having its mouth clean for some time now. Love Dogs was asking, do clients, like this moray eel here, occasionally, when very, very hungry, eat the cleaner fish, Pat?
Oh, good question. I don't think that they would. Maybe they might mistakenly eat one after they're being cleaned, but while the fish is cleaning them, I don't think that they would eat them.
Yeah, they don't. If there is any sort of predation, it would be accidental from any client. But cleaning is a really fundamental and important process to most fish, including morays, including turtles, including big mantas and sharks, so there isn't much evidence of them ever eating the cleaner fish.
So while we are looking at the moray, I am also just looking around the engine block as well, because there are a lot of other things living here. I'm really looking for an octopus. There is rumoured to be, as well as a moray, an octopus that does hang out here quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure the octopus would be there at the same time as the moray. Do you think it would be?
Nah, probably not. The moray would probably have a chomp at it, I would assume.
Yeah, morays are not aggressive towards humans, but they are great ambush predators. And they have been known to sort of wrap their elongated bodies around their prey and crush it until it's small enough to either eat whole or take chunks from. So they are really good hunters, and I wouldn't imagine an octopus hanging around while this guy is here.
So do we have any more moray questions there, Lauren?
So Rimph is asking how many teeth they have.
That would be very hard to tell because they do have that second set of jaws, and so we'd have to look very deep within their mouths. But yeah, it's hard to say an exact number.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would vary depending on the species as well, and there is around 200 different species of moray eels. So the most important factor is that second set of jaws called the Farnegal jaws. So Spash just asked how many species, and I think I just answered it. There's around 200 different species of moray eels.
Yeah, they do come in all shapes and sizes and colour forms as well. So we have shown a couple of other species here on diveLIVE. The golden tail, which was actually its dark colour form, so it was black and white. And we've also got the spotted spotted moray, which was also a smaller one. So they're both quite a lot smaller than the green one that we're seeing here.
Yeah, and there's quite a lot of comments that they attack divers, but this is not necessarily the case. The incidents where the divers have been attacked have been more a case of the divers taunting and teasing the eels, especially trying to feed them. Now, if you imagine what I said about these guys being quite blind, if you were to wave a fish in front of its face, it's probably going to just launch out and try and get the fish, and it could accidentally get your hand. This is why it's completely recommended never to feed animals. So there isn't necessarily attacks on divers as such. Is that right, Pat?
Yeah, I fully agree with you. They wouldn't ever just attack one for no reason. And this was demonstrated to me when I was actually working with rehabilitating a moray eel. And we had to feed it with tweezers, with a prawn on the end of it. And it would always it would always try and eat the tweezers. It would eventually get the prawn, but it would take quite some time to do it. So they are very blind and could easily miss if they were going for whatever the diver was feeding it.
Yeah, and that blue tang is very close to the moray eel right now and kind of photobombed us there.
Yes, you can see that. It's actually, this blue tang has a little, on its anal fin, it looks like it's been, I don't know, hit by something. There's a bit of a split there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, we can see that. Just a tiny little cut. How interesting. Is it just on its own?
Yeah, just a single... Oh no, there is another one coming to join it now. And it looks like there's a lot of different cleaner wrasse as well that are waiting for them to slow down so they can start feeding on them. On their parasites anyway, not on them themselves. We've also got a banded coral shrimp here that's just popped out to say hello.
Yeah, I actually saw that when we were following the blue tang. Oh, blue tang's back again. It really wants its time on camera. Oh wow, we're getting a great view of this banded coral shrimp.
Yeah, it's really quite exposed. So quite often we will see shrimp such as this and the Peterson's cleaning shrimp very hidden away. So we'll only really sometimes just see the antennae and maybe a claw or two. But this one's a brave one, it's fully out in the open. And I think it's waiting for something to come along so I can give it a clean.
Yeah, it's probably wondering if we want clean, so it's looking for its next meal, which will come from its client. And Love Dogs mentioned Simone would have loved this, and you are correct. She is a big fan of the crustaceans.
Yes, she's the crustacean queen.
So we have another question about the eel, Pat.
Yep.
Virginia was asking, do moray eels have to live in the warmer waters?
That is a good question. I know that we get them in some of the temperate areas back home, so I don't believe they are entirely tropically distributed. But in the really cold waters, I'm not sure.
Yeah, they are quite spread out. There is over 200 different species throughout the world in different habitats, but a lot of the species do reside on the coral reefs because there's a plentiful supply of food for them here. Most animals will be found where they can find their food. So Pat, Spas is asking, how long do you think the cleaner shrimp's antennae actually are?
Well, probably about 10 centimetres, so about 4 inches. They are definitely longer than their body length. They're quite large, the most prominent feature on the shrimp.
Yeah, and for some reason they're always hanging upside down.
Yeah, we do see this a bit down here. With the fairy basslets as well, they will often hang upside down, and yeah, we do see it in a lot of shrimp species.
So they've got very extended front arms with the claws attached, so they're much longer than the body, and they're kind of bent at a 90-degree angle, which gives them a funny looking stance. makes them look a little bit aggressive, and they do get termed the bandy boxer shrimp for this reason. They always look like they're about to start a fight, and they're not. This is just a design for cleaning. They've got these long arms so that they can use them to clean its clients.
So I found an arrow crab right here as well. It's just come out and it's hiding away a bit now. Not sure if we can get another look at it.
Oh, we got it.
Oh, cool. So it's just hanging out at the end of the moray eel's tail there.
Oh, it needs to be careful.
Yeah. So this is another curious looking crustacean. They do look a little bit like a shrimp, but they are actually a crab. And the really most prominent feature of them is that really extended nose that almost looks like another leg. And that is where they get the name, the arrow crab, from.
Yeah, they're a bit spider-like. A bit creepy to look at.
Yes, they remind me a lot of a daddy longlegs.
Yeah, that's right. And Pat, I'm not sure if you're able to see this, but it actually has one leg resting on the eel's tail.
Oh, really? Perhaps it's going to go give it a clean, or maybe it's just not scared of it whatsoever.
Yeah, the moray eel moved its tail, so maybe it didn't like the feel.
So, do we have any more moray questions, or should we head out a little deeper?
I think you can head a little deeper, see what we can find. We do have a shrimpy question.
Yep.
It's a little bit of a tough one. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Fern would like to know what is the difference between a shrimp and a prawn.
Well, this does differ a bit around the world, but what we learned when I was studying back at university, the way that we learned it is that it's depending on size. So shrimps are quite often the very small ones. I can't remember the exact size range. And then prawns were the larger grown ones. There's also other ways, such as the pelmanoid species, which are a different grouping of prawns or shrimp, referred to as prawns, but really there are a few different ways to define it.
Yeah, they are very similar, but the difference is based on anatomy. They do have different anatomy, especially when it comes to the gills, and prawns have claws on 3 pairs of their legs, and second pincers are much larger, whereas shrimps have different gills and they have claws on 2 pairs of their legs. So there is difference in the anatomy between the two. Now, Pat, Sarinth is asking how many PSI, but actually we are both on bar. So, Pat, how much bar do you have left?
Yeah, sure. So I have 120 bar left. So still plenty of time down here. I am a bit shallower, so I am using my air a bit slower.
Perfect. We've got plenty of time for more good finds.
Yes, and hopefully we can get something off these last few things that we really want to see on our species list.
Well, as you know, I want to see an octopus, but also I would love to add another species to this list if you could find one.
Yeah, definitely. I am keeping my eyes peeled for a new species or something we haven't seen before. Coming right through a big group of male parrotfish though. We have seen this a little bit lately, especially in this area where there's a massive group of just male parrotfish. We can tell they're male because they have these really bright rainbowy vibrant colours and are a bit larger. But why they are hanging out in a specific male group, I really don't know. I'm assuming it's for feeding reasons. Just like the blue tangs, they will often school up so they can be more efficient in finding algae to graze upon. But whether this is actually why they're doing this, I don't know.
Well, I can see a female there, but yeah, you're right. It baffles me why so many male parrotfish come together, because they do normally stay with their harems. But this is the stoplight parrotfish, Pat, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we can tell that for that little yellow spot that sits just above their pectoral or their side fins.
So Spas was asking, what does the female look like? So this is the male, but I did see a female swim somewhere. Do you think we can point out the female spotlight?
Yeah, I'll just...
Oh, there we go, right ahead of us.
Cool. Oh, yeah, I see that there. Yeah, so this is a female. We can tell it's quite a bit more drab-coloured, not really as vibrant as the males, and it is quite a bit smaller as well.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got an ocean triggerfish. So, random place to see one of these. Although yesterday I was diving here and I saw one literally just where the iron shore meets the hard pan. So only about 2 meters depth. So I don't know why it's coming closer, but we do usually see these guys a bit deeper.
Yeah, and I just love them. What size is this one?
This is a big one. It's probably about 60, maybe even 70 centimeters, so above 2 feet.
And you can tell it's a triggerfish straight away by the body shape.
Yeah, those two really quite rear-facing dorsal and anal fins, using that undulating motion to steer them. They really do just look like a smaller sunfish.
Yeah, they're barely moving that tail fin there. They're just using that as a rudder. They're just propelling themselves using those two elongated fins. And it probably looks like it's going really slow, or it does to me anyway. But when you're underwater with that fish, it's moving a lot faster than you would think.
Yeah, for such a weird body shape, they are pretty efficient swimmers. They do move quite quickly, which is why we often have very fleeting sightings with them. Now, we do have a pair of trumpetfish right here, and I don't know, I think they could be mating. They're moving very weirdly together, so they're kind of jolting at one another, but they're staying very close together and kind of copying each other's movements.
Well, while we're getting a sighting on that, we can't see them just yet. We do have a triggerfish question.
Yeah?
Amy would like to know, are triggerfish dangerous?
Well, not really. They aren't, the species we get here aren't really dangerous, but Lauren, I think in other parts of the world you would beg to differ, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Generally, Pat is right, they are not, but there is one species that is what my nightmares are made up of, called the Titan triggerfish, and it is notorious for biting people when nesting, and they have human-sized teeth. So I did buy a new pair of fins, which are way expensive. I'm not going to tell you how much in case my mum is listening. And the triggerfish bit a huge hole in my new fins. Yes, they are terrifying, but generally triggerfish are not dangerous.
Yeah, they're quite graceful creatures. So yeah, we do have two trumpetfish here, and it did look like they were going to be mating or something like that just before. They were really sitting really close to one another, and yeah, as I said, kind of jolting and darting. But now they are spread out and are just sitting very still as they usually do. But this one's got a bit of a curve in its body, which we don't usually see.
Oh yeah, this is the Atlantic trumpetfish, and it looks quite small, or am I just imagining that, Pat?
No, it is quite small. This one's probably only 30 centimetres, 12 inches, so the size of a ruler. They can get up to a metre though, so over 3 feet. So these are quite small for a trumpetfish. They are pretty interesting animals. They're very closely related to seahorses and pipefish. So we can see that because they do have that kind of elongated trunk at the front there. And they can also really lighten and darken their colours, which really comes in handy when they are near a gorgonian. So they do come in kinds of reds and purples and yellows in their colour form. And when they lighten or darken this, they can really look just like a gorgonian, so what it's sitting next to right now. And they will orientate themselves vertically in the water so that the end of their snout is kind of facing down. And when they do this, it's sometimes really hard to distinguish them from the branches of the gorgonian. And this is because they are ambush predators, so they will sit there like that, very still, until something comes past that doesn't really know that the trumpet fish is there. And then they'll use they have a very quick kind of darting motion that they can use to capture their prey.
So Pat, I hate to interrupt you, but we did have a little visitor on the surface in the form of a very small juvenile turtle, so keep your eyes peeled.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it came up for breath and said hello.
Oh, whereabouts near you guys? Or?
A little bit closer to the shore, so to your right, I think, but just keep your eyes out as it was swimming.
Alright, we'll definitely do that. Hopefully it was that juvenile green turtle.
Well, it was very small.
Oh, that would be awesome. So, last night I was diving here, and in the hard pan area, so the shallower areas, I did see a very juvenile green turtle. It was probably only about 30 centimetres long in its carapace, so it was about that big, and it was very cute. So, hopefully it does come for a visit. I will be keeping my eyes out.
Yeah, Pat had a very exciting dive last night, and I'm very jealous I didn't get to see that green turtle.
Yeah. So the reef is actually kind of very alive at the moment, or at least this segment. There's a lot of activity at the moment, a lot of cleaning going on, and a lot of feeding as well. There seems to be a lot of little blue chromis, which are little blue damselfish that we do see quite a lot, all just up feeding.
Well, we do have some questions, Pat.
Yeah?
Love Dogs did mention that my things were $10, and yes, let's just say that they were $10 if my mum is listening. So, Kathy is asking, what are the keystone species in this area?
Well, we do have... Oh, it's really hard to put it down to one or two species on such a diverse coral reef ecosystem such as this. So there's not that many sharks here, unfortunately, and sharks will often control an ecosystem by having some top-down controls over what is happening. But having said that, here on these reefs, it's probably the herbivorous fish, such as the parrotfish and the blue tangs. So what they do is they will feed on algae, and algae can and will smother reefs if given the chance. So what they do is they will smother a coral, which won't allow sunlight to come into the coral, and that will slowly kind of degenerate and kill the coral. So to have a lot of herbivores grazing all over the reefs will really keep this ecosystem from collapsing too much. So I would say that herbivorous fish are probably the keystone species in this ecosystem. But having said that, each species does play its part. So the larger predators will keep control on the genetic purity or the genetic viability of the ecosystem. And we also have species like the angelfish and the turtles that feed on sponges that keep the sponges from overgrowing the reef. So everything really is playing its part.
Yeah, that was a great explanation. Pat's totally right. Everything does have a role, and even the butterfly fish are known as bioindicator species because they are said to indicate the health of a reef. And going back to the herbivorous fish, even the urchin, it's not a fish, but it is a major herbivore and a key player in the reef ecosystem. So a lot of different animals here play their each individual roles.
Yeah, most definitely. So we do have an indigo hamlet right in front of us here, which are...
look at those colours.
Yeah, they are a favourite to spot just because of how beautiful they actually are. So they do look a lot like the barred hamlet to me, but we can definitely tell that they're not because of those bright indigo colours.
Yeah, they really stand out. They're so strikingly beautiful.
Yeah. Most hamlets are, even the more drab coloured hamlets still have really intricate markings on their head, just like this barred one right here in front of me, which we will get a quick look at just for contrast. So right here we have the barred hamlet.
Oh, perfect!
Yeah. So you can see the similarities between the two. They have similar shapes, similar markings, but two different species. And this does make it difficult, especially because they can hybridize, which means that two different species of hamlet can form offspring. So to identify them can be very difficult sometimes, but we are getting pretty good. And all we need really now of the pure species of hamlets is the golden hamlet, which we still haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. We're desperate to sight that golden hamlet. Pat, can we have an air check?
Yeah, of course. So, 100 bar left. And I wanted to point out just in front of us here, we have a rock beauty that's a juvenile, but it does seem to be kind of growing up, and I'll tell you why in a second. I'll just point it out.
Oh, yep, we just got a sighting of it.
Yeah, awesome. So, I can tell that it's kind of starting to mature, because if anyone who is a follower of us has seen us point out the rock beauty, they look just like this one here, except much larger, and this black spot will cover pretty much all of their body, except for the very outskirts of the fins, and its head as well will also stay yellow. But as we can see, this one here, its black spot is only taking up a smaller portion of its body. So from the juvenile phase, its very juvenile phase, this black dot will actually just be a little black spot, a tiny one, towards the rear of the body with a blue ring around it. And then as it grows, not only its body will grow, but the black spot also grows until they reach maturity and it's completely covering their body.
Yeah, Pat, I think this is the first time we've actually highlighted a juvenile rock beauty.
Oh, good, yeah. Probably would have been, actually. We don't often see them. So it is good to see one in this transitional phase. Oh, wow,
Yeah,
good.
we have another.
Oh, no, you go, Lauren, sorry.
No, we're following another very small yellow fish. Are you able to see that one, Pat?
I can't right now. It could have been the juvenile phase. They do look very similar to the three-spot damselfish, so they are quite difficult to distinguish at such a small size.
Yeah, this is the three-spot damselfish juvenile.
So we have a huge rainbow parrotfish up ahead of us. Let's go take a look at it. It's actually cruising at the moment. We don't often see them just cruising. They are pretty active animals, so we'll swim quite fast and really crunch all of the algae off rocks and corals. If I had a hydrophone right now and this guy was feeding, you could really hear just how loud they feed.
Yeah, the reef is not as quiet as you think it is. There's all sorts of noises down there, and the parrotfish crunch is one of the loudest.
So this guy is probably about 70, maybe 80 centimetres long. So kind of between that 2 and 3 foot range. we can see its tail. Oh no, its tail's fine. Just from the angle I was on, it looks like it had been damaged, but no, it's fine.
No, I see where you're coming from. The top part of the tail fin is much shorter than the bottom part.
Yeah, so maybe something's had a chomp at it. But they are called parrotfish for a few reasons. So firstly, they do have that different coloration on their body, the really bright, kind of vibrant rainbowy colours, just like a parrot. They also have a fused beak, so over time evolution has fused their teeth together into a, oh what's it doing here, into a bit of a beak, which we can definitely see on this one. And lastly, they kind of flap their pectoral wings to move themselves, or their pectoral fins, sorry, just like wings. So these three factors really do give them a resemblance to land parrots.
Yeah, I didn't actually realise how big this rainbow parrotfish got. It even gets bigger than the midnight parrotfish.
Yeah, they are huge. And it just must make, it like makes me think how much algae these guys would have to eat just to sustain themselves. They're almost constantly feeding. This is probably the first time I've ever observed one where it hasn't been constantly feeding.
Yeah, they are huge grazers, the parrotfish, constantly always feeding.
And the funny thing about these big rainbow parrotfish is that a lot of the algae that they do eat will get stuck on top of their beaks, and they can't really remove this by any means. So it just stays there and kind of grows. It looks exactly like they have a mustache.
Yeah, it looks really funny to look at. We do have a comment from Spas saying that he heard parrotfish eat the coral, so maybe you can explain, Pat, what they're actually doing.
Yeah, definitely. So they're not directly feeding on the corals. What they are doing is they are eating the algae on top of the corals. So this is also the same with rocks as well, that they will come and they'll just scrape the top layer off. They're not actually trying to eat the rock or the coral at all, but they're just extracting the algae, and then they will have the rock or the coral come through their digestive system, and then it will be expelled. It won't be digested, it'll be expelled out the back of it, and that will produce little sand granules. So it's actually really valuable because it will recontribute sand back to the ecosystem. Wow, what a huge permit this is.
Yeah, and it's got a remora attached to it as well.
Yeah, so this one makes that parrotfish look quite small now. So this is probably about a metre long, so about 3 feet, maybe even more.
It's amazing. We've been here 3 months and we never caught sight of a permit, and all of a sudden the past few days we're seeing them on every dive.
Yeah, it's quite strange. Because remember, Lauren, when you saw those few in a school together? So perhaps they had come here for this time of year, maybe for feeding or mating purposes.
I was wondering if they're coming in preparation of the arrival of the silver side.
Oh, that's actually a very good theory, yeah. Yep. So, do you want to explain a bit about the silver sides?
Sure. Silver sides is not actually the name of a species, it's a collective name for many species together. I'll get you the names in just a moment. And they're very, very small fish, and they school in huge numbers. So they do arrive apparently around this time of year to the grotto. And the action at the grotto is said to be incredible. All the big predators will come, especially the tarpons and the jackfish, and it's supposed to be extremely spectacular. We were hoping to get this on our live dive for you, but the silver sides haven't quite arrived yet.
Yeah, we have seen them a bit in the mangroves near the canal at our house, but apart from that there hasn't really been the presence of them. Now I've just come out to this sand patch over here because before we started the broadcast we did see a nurse shark and it was heading out into deeper waters. So hopefully it has decided to come somewhere around here.
Yeah, it is Shark Week after all, and we do have a really good shark question if you are interested in answering it in honour of Shark Week, Pat.
Yeah, of course.
Alrighty. So it's from Virginia, and she has been watching Shark Week, and she mentioned that sharks are really important for the ecosystem to make it healthy. So is there any ideas why there's no sharks in our area?
Yeah, well, here in Grand Cayman, there did actually used to be quite a few sharks, but, I mean, this is unfortunately, very sadly, a similar story on all places on the world. So, sharks are very slow to reproduce. They have long gestation periods, and they often don't give birth to huge litters of young. So because of this, when their population numbers start to decline, they don't really bounce back very quickly because they need to have that long period of time to start replenishing their numbers. So through overfishing and pollution and changing global conditions, sharks have been in huge declines, and unfortunately we have really just ourselves to blame for that.
Yeah, there are tiger sharks and Caribbean reef sharks and even hammerheads around the area, but they're just not so easy for us to spot. They don't really hang around a reef. They're a little bit more pelagic in the open ocean.
Yeah, it would be really cool to spot a reef shark here though, but unfortunately they tend to be more towards the east side of Grand Cayman Island, and we are west at the moment.
So Virginia was asking just what that big silverfish was, and just to confirm, it was a permit, P-E-R-M-I-T.
Yes, they are part of the jack grouping, just like those horse-eyed jacks that we see. So there doesn't seem to be a nurse shark out here, or a ray. I was hoping for one or the other. Let's head back down this way onto the reef, because I am starting to reach the end of the dive, so I will shallow up a bit to spend more time with you all.
No sighting of that turtle, right?
No, unfortunately not. But we are more to the right now, so maybe as we come shallower, we might just run into it.
So Spas was asking how many species of sharks are in the Grand Cayman. So I'm not sure about the Grand Cayman, but there is a huge variety of sharks in the Caribbean region itself, including sand tigers, makos, white tips. They are present. Again, they just don't really hang around the reefs.
Yeah, you have to head into a bit deeper waters before you start seeing those species. And it's really hard to spot species like that in such a wide, vast, open expanse. So here on the coral reefs we have the pleasure of it being shallow and complex and easy to navigate, so it makes finding things a lot easier. But in the open ocean you sometimes literally have nothing to go on.
So what depth are you at now, Pat, and how much air do you have left?
I am at 10 metres exactly, so 32 feet, and I have hit 50 bar. So, as I mentioned, this is my last dive here at Casuarina Point, but it's not the last dive. For diveLIVE, we will have Lauren down here with you all at 11 AM, and then tomorrow will be our very last day of broadcasting. So we will be out on the boat exploring some really exciting sights. So we really hope that you tune in and that you tell all your mates to tune in as well. It's been an awesome journey and we have you all to thank for it, but I'll go a little bit more into that tomorrow. So thank you for joining me on yet another awesome dive, and Lauren will be down here diving with you at 11 a.m. Grand Cayman time. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I'll see you at 11 a.m.